Queen Elizabeth just released a statement saying the whole nation has been shocked by the death and injury in Manchester last night of so many people, adults and children, who had just been enjoying a concert. Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May said this morning, quote, "This attack stands out for its appalling, sickening cowardice."
22 people were killed in the bombing. 59 others were wounded as thousands of young people left an Ariana Grande concert at the Manchester Arena. The lone bomber died in the blast. Investigators say they know his identity. Police announced this morning that they've arrested a 23-year-old man in connection to the attack. He was in South Manchester.
CBS News senior national security analyst Fran Townsend is here. She was Homeland Security Advisor to President George W. Bush. Fran, good morning.
Good morning.
We heard the Prime Minister say they believe they may know the identity of the suspect. This additional arrest this morning. What else is at the top of the list for them?
So right now they're looking at anything they know about this man, his home address, his work address, any associates. They'll look for computers and cell phones. They'll look for social media accounts, anything that can explain to them this man's network to know for certain, as Theresa May suggested, whether he acted alone or with others.
Should social media companies play a role here?
Oh, Charlie. So, you know, just hours before in the Telegram channel, the social media encrypted communication site, there was an ISIS channel that said, kill them where you can, right? It was a video encouraging attacks. And then right after the attack, as you know, there are hashtags, pray for Manchester, Manchester bombing. ISIS took over those hashtags to disseminate their propaganda. And so, look, social media sites have to do more before these attacks to take down that propaganda, not just after them.
But, Fran, when you look at this just seems to be a different kind of cruel. When you look at the audience that was targeted, is there anything that can really be done realistically? I think parents everywhere can relate to this. I could have gone to that concert, they're saying. I would have taken my kids and left them. Anything you can really do realistically to stop this?
You know, Gayle, look, we do security screening beforehand, and there have been conflicting reports about how good that screening was going in. But, of course, most of that security is gone when people exit. The disturbing thing about this, there were many exits. He deliberately chose that exit, which was the one closest to public transportation, in order to get the largest number of people. And so I expect now you'll see some effort to do screening as people exit. You can have explosive sniffing dogs and the like. But, you know, wherever we put screening, they're going to look for our vulnerability. That's right.
If this was ISIS or Al-Qaeda or some other terrorist organization, are they trying to send a message that we're still here and we can still get at you?
Absolutely, Charlie. Look, we don't know. Was this a homegrown person from the UK, or was this a refugee or some sort of foreign fighter coming back? But that's right. No matter how decimated they are in the so-called caliphate, they're still in places around the world that pose a threat to us and obviously to our children.
You see comparisons to Bataclan?
I do. You know, Bataclan, the Stade de France there, where there was a sports stadium where an individual tried to get in. I think, you know, we always see these warnings about large public gatherings, and this is why. What they're looking for is the largest number of casualties they can cause.
What do we know about the bombing?
You know, look, they're looking now about the type of explosive. They've not released that. That will be key, Charlie, to understanding whether or not this was a terrorist.
All right, Fran Townsend, always good to have you here. Thank you so much. And in full disclosure, we should mention that Fran is under active consideration to be the new FBI director. She has been interviewed by the Trump administration, so we wanted to note that as well.